continue our lecture. I think we received to the slide number 3, first part from the slides. The first step, or the first one, we want to discuss about the key concepts and terms about project risk management. Okay, Mr. Nuresh. Mr. Nuresh, please control your microphone. It's not good. Okay. Mr. Engineer Anwar, please disconnect your microphone. It's not good in the class. Please connect, please control your microphones during our lecture. Mr. Anwar, do you hear me? Mr. Engineer Anwar, do you hear me? Okay, continue. In the first step, we want to discuss about key concepts and terms in project risk management, such as this point, these items, definition of risk, we will discuss. Project risk types, any type of risk in a project, especially in civil engineering projects. After that, we'll discuss about project risk management, the procedure of project risk management, and the steps of this procedure. After that, key terms, and next item, trends and emerging practices, with that some detailed examples and some detailed notes about risk management. After that, tailoring consideration about risk management, and the last item is consideration for adaptive environment factors in risk management. Okay. Okay. Mr. Mustafa Asad Al-Saadi, do you hear me? Mr. Engineer Mustafa Asad Al-Saadi. Where are you, Mr. Mustafa? Mr. Engineer Farah Mohsen, do you hear me? Mr. Engineer Farah Mohsen is a student.
Yes, doctor.
Where are you?
I listened before, but
What? Are you?
But the net very weak, the voice not clear.
What can I do, Mr. Engineer Farah? Okay, Mr. Engineer Farah, is the first slide on the desk or not?
Yes, doctor.
Slide number 4, yeah?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. A About any projects, please write these notes, please. It's very important to note our explanation during the lecture, okay? Please write the notes. About the first item, that any project or any engineering project, and so any civil engineering project has some conditions and some factors. Condition like economic condition, political condition, environmental condition, technical condition is right, official condition, okay? That there are in any project and any civil engineering project. And in detail, any project or any engineering or civil engineering project has some factors. For example, in economical condition or economic condition or economic group, we have some costs, initial costs in operational or current costs, for example. Or in environmental condition or environmental group, we have some factors such as the fertilization, the soil, or the vegetation condition of the soil in the field of our project, for example, and another environmental factors. So in any project there are some factors in detail. That we must study this condition and factor in the first stage of any project. That according to our knowledge and our informations and collected data during the step of studies in our project, according this to points, knowledge and data or information, there are some certainties and uncertainties. Certainties that we are suitable information and knowledge about that condition or factor. These are certainties in our project. But sometimes, according our knowledge and information about some condition or factors in our project that are defect, that are not complete, that are not suitable, knowledge and information about some condition and factor. So this condition and factor will be uncertainties, عدم قطعیت, uncertainties in our project. Okay. Item 2 is that in any project about condition and factor, we must have some knowledge and some data or information about conditions and factors of our project. Then according to this knowledge and data or information, we will have some certainties and uncertainties in our project. In item 3, certainty means, as I explained, some condition or factor in our project that we will have suitable knowledge and information about them. So, about the probability to occur of that condition or factor, it's more than about 80, more than about 80 presence. And about uncertainty, that is belonging to the defect or incompleteness of our knowledge and data about some condition and factors. And so the probability of occurring this condition and factor are about or approximately less than 70 or 60 percent. These are uncertainty in our project. At the stage of design in any project or any engineering or civil engineering project, we will design any part of our project with certainties, with condition and factors that are clear and are complete, and the probability of their occurring is more than about 18%. But about our certainties, parallel and with certainties in a project, we will manage the project after designing. We will go to the step of construction or implementation and other steps and stages of our project. That these are the project management. So the project management, not risk management, project management are about certainties in our project, condition and factor that are clear, that are complete. And about our certainties, that are not clear, that are not sure about them, about their occurring during the project, we will make risk management about uncertainties. And risk management will done parallel to project management, notice. And risk management is a branch of and is an important part of risk management, okay? But the excuse me. But the teams of project management and risk management are separate. Sometimes some experts will compare in these two teams, but the activities of risk management and project management are separate. But these activities during during our project will be done parallel together, risk management and project management, from the first step of our project. So, project management is related to certainties, that means some conditions and factors that are certainty or certain, and risk management is about uncertainties in our project. And certainty and uncertainty about condition and factors are related to our knowledge and our knowledge and our information in that project. That is different from any project to other project and from any company to other company, certainties and uncertainties. And by developing and updating our knowledge and our information about some condition and factor in our project, the level of uncertainty will be decreased. And some uncertainties during some project will change to certainties. And one of our aims or targets about risk management is to change some uncertainties that at the first stages of our project, according to uncompletement or defect of our knowledge or information about their condition or factors, to change these uncertainties to certainty during the project. One of the aims of risk management about any project. And these are two terms that are risk and hazard. That these two terms are different, are related together, and they have interconnected, but they are different. Hazard means is right. Hazard means some factors or events that make some risks. For example, the lack of some equipment. For example, safety equipment. In a project can occur some risk, for example. Or some unsuitable management during our project can make take some risks. Okay. So hazards are some factors that can occur. Probably can occur some risks. So hazards are the factors of risk, any risk. And risk is the probability of occurring any problem such some injury, some problem about time, about any aim of our project. For example, some risk increase the cost or some costs of our project. So risk is the probability of occurring some problems that will affect on the aims of our project during the project. And risk and hazard are different. Okay. Any question? Mr. Engineer Shazif Qasim, any question?
Sorry, Dr.
Yes.
Dr. Mahmoud, ask you about materials, about conditions, factors, knowledge, data, information, and simply for all students to clear.
Okay. For example, yes. For example, about the materials, for example, concrete. Okay. In general, the materials are belonging to condition of our project. I mean, detail. For example, the good or well mixing the concrete can be the factor, or the cost of concrete can be the factor, or some technical or some mechanical behavior and characteristics of the concrete can be the factors in our project. Okay, and when our knowledge and our information about that factor or about that condition is complete, and the probability of occurring some condition, some good condition or negative condition during our project is completely clear, and the probability of occurring is about that condition or factor that we determine or we will design for our project is more than about 80%, more than 80, is certainty in our project. But if the occurring of that condition or factor or problem, negative or positive events during the project or managing the project or construction that project is not clear, and its probability it's less than about 70 or 60%, it's uncertainty, and we are not sure about the occurring of that problem or that condition. So we can use these condition or factors and their data or information in our design in that project. We must manage them. We must manage the risk of these uncertainties. Okay, some effect of these uncertainties are positive. That means it's good to occur during our term in my project, during our project, and sometimes are negative effects and are not good on the aim of our projects. So all of the uncertainties are not equal. Some uncertainties are positive and have some positive effects on the aim of our projects, and some of uncertainties have negative effect on the aim of our project. So some risks are positive and some risks are negative. The negative ones are risks, and the positive risks are opportunity. And positive risk will help us during the project. If I know them and I control and manage them very well during the project. Okay, and by risk management, we will decrease the negative effects of that risk on the aims of our projects. These explanations are very general. Don't worry. We will go to the detail, and we will explain in detail by some examples. Don't worry. These explanations are very general. Okay. Engineers, any question? Mr. Shazi Qasim, do you hear me? Mr. Shazi Qasim, the microphone is active. No. Mr. Shazi Qasim, do you hear me? Okay, engineers, any question? Mr. Nores, any question? Mr. Nores? Okay. If you have any question, please ask me during the lectures. Okay. The next one, these are some concepts and some terms in risk management. There are only some concepts and terms and some definitions. And we will discuss in detail about any part of risk management during the term with some examples. Okay, Mr. Engineer, any question? Mr. Nuresh, any question? Mr. Shazi, do you hear me? Shazi Qasim Aziz?
Yes, Doctor. Yes, Doctor. No question.
No question. And Mr. Shazi? The microphone is active, connected. Okay. Notice that sometimes some definitions about some terms, like the risk or hazard, sometimes is different in any reference. But the most part of the frame and detail of the definition of these terms are general and are similar. Okay, but in detail, sometimes some definitions are have some differences in some references. No problem. So, any reference about any definitions of these terms are clear here. For example, the first part is from ISO 31000, or the next one is from PMBOK standard, project management body of knowledge. You know that the last version is published, and the last one is from PMBOK standard. These are references. Okay. What about definition of risk? Risk is effect of uncertainties on objectives or aims, and an effect is a positive or negative deviation from what is expected. Notice that I explained that some condition and factor in our project are clear, and the probability of occurring of them is more than about 80 to 100%. What about uncertainty, that we are not sure about their occurring, and the probability of their occurring is less than about 70 or 60%. So these are the uncertainties of our project. With certainties in a project, we will make a design, and after designing, we will construct, we will start the construct, and we will complete the construction of that project with the detail and any part of our project according to our project management program or scheduling. And these activities are project management. But about uncertainties, we must deal with risk management about uncertainties, that we are not sure about the occurring of these conditional factors during the project. because of incompleteness and or defects about the occurring of that condition or about that factor. So the definition of risk is that risk is effect of uncertainty or uncertainties on objectives of our project or aims of our project. We know triangle of the objectives or aims of any project that are time, cost, and productivity or efficiency of that project. And an effect about any risk can be positive or negative, and any effect is a positive or negative deviation from the aims or objectives of our project, from what is expected. That means the objectives or aims of our project, the deviation from the objectives. And there is some have some coins and are very different. And in general, we can divide the risk in two parts or two kinds: individual risks and overall risks in any project. The kind number one, individual project risk, is uncertain event or condition or factor or condition that, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect on only one. This is important about individual project risk. Effect on one or more project objectives. It's about any risk, not some risks together, okay? Or some effects on some objectives in general in that project, okay? I repeat, individual project risk is uncertainty in events or a condition that, if it occurs, if the risk will occur, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect on one or more project objectives. And about overall project risk is the effect of uncertainty is the same, like individual. Uncertainty on the project as a whole, arising from all sources, is different from individual project risk. Arising from all sources of uncertainty or of uncertainties, including individual project risk, representing the exposure of stakeholders to the implication of various in project outcome, both positive and negative. So, overall project risk management are different from individual project management in that part of their effects. I repeat, overall project risk is the effect of uncertainty on the project is the same like individual. As a whole, arising from all sources of uncertainties, not only about one risk or one source, okay, from all sources of uncertainty, including individual project risk, representing the exposure of stakeholders to the implication of various in-project outcomes, both positive and negative. Okay? And next one. Mr. Shazi, please disconnect your microphone. When I call you, I don't hear any sound. But during our lecture, we hear many sounds. It's not good. Please control your microphone, Mr. Shazi. Okay. And some other terms and definitions. Project risk types, or the types of risk, such as event risk, variability risk, ambiguity risk, and emergence risk. These are some kinds of risk, or the kinds of risk in some aspects. The first one, event risk. What is event risk? Something that has not yet happened, and it may not happen at all, may not, and may to happen or occurring. But if it does happen, then it has an impact on one or more objectives of our project. Okay, event risk is depending on time and the probability of occurring. Event risk, I repeat, something or some uncertainties that has, or some events that has not yet happened, and it may not happen at all, may. But if it does happen, then after happening, it has, or it will have an impact on one or more objectives or aims of our project. Next one, or next kind of risks, are variability risks. These are uncertainty exists about some key characteristics of a planned event or activity or decision. It will vary from one part to one part, another part. Variability risk, I repeat, is that uncertainty exists about some key characteristics of a planned event or activity or decision. The variation is this part, event or activity or decision. And next one, next kind of risk, ambiguity risk. That is, uncertainty exists about what might happen in the future, arising from lack of knowledge or understanding. I explain. The uncertainty in our project belong to and are according to the lack of, or the defect, or the incompleteness of our knowledge or information. So, ambiguity and risk are these kinds of risks that uncertainty exists about what might happen in the future. And these are arising from lack of knowledge or understanding. And the next kind is emergent or emergency risk, emergent risk. That is a risk that emerge from or blind spots in our project arising from limitation in our conceptual frameworks or worldview or opinion. Okay, it's belong to our opinion. Also, these kinds are known as unknownable unknowns. Unknownable unknowns. I repeat that emergent risk or risk that emerge from or blind spots, that is this blind spot arising from what? From limitations in our conceptual frameworks or worldview or our opinion. And this kind also known as unknownable knowns in the project about some conditions and some factors of our project that are uncertainties. These are initial definitions. These are basic definitions. Don't worry. Okay. And some examples about these kinds of risks. This types example that we discussed in the last slide. This type examples. For one example for event risk. For example, a key supplier may go out of business during project. You know that we prepare our materials, our equipments, our instruments, and other things in our project or our projects from some special or some known suppliers. And sometimes during our project, a key supplier, for example, may go out of business. And we need to use another supplier that sometimes is not known for us in our project or in our company. This is event risk. And one example for variability risk, the next coin, is that unseasonal weather conditions may occur during construction phase. For example, some unseasonal, for example, raining. So, an example is that unseasonal weather conditions about temperature, about rain, and others may occur during construction phase, for example. And about ambiguity risk. This is an example. Inherent systematic complexity in the project. It's about the lack of our knowledge in our company or in our group in that project. inherent systematic complexity in the project. For example, in geotechnical projects like tunnels, like dams, like roads, sometimes some complexity are blind to the earth, including soil and rocks, and it's not acceptable. It's not, excuse me, is not formal or is not routine, and it's inherent complexity in that part of that project, in that site of that project. So, example about ambiguity and risk is some inherent systematic complexity in the project, and about emergent risks, things outside of our current mindset or cognizance. For example, some wars in our country or in the world, wars or any other thing outside of our current mind. Okay, it can make some emergent risk during of our project. Okay. Any question, engineers? Any question?
Can I ask about, you say before minutes about ambiguity risk?
Yes.
Say soil and rocks, we can't
sometimes there are inherent complexity that we are not accepted about them. Okay.
Can we make a soil investigation?
Yes. For example, sometimes in the earth there are some faults that we are not expected during our studies in that project. For example,
like seismic load or
yes.
Seismic. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Some complexities are not formally, are not routine sometimes.
Okay,
And,
thanks a lot.
Yes. Not only about geotechnical project or geotechnic projects, about any project and any civil engineering project, and any condition of our project, political, environmental, technical, and others. Okay? We know that any condition around us will affect our project. In that field, in that city, in that country, in that in the world, okay? Any changing, any condition in the around us can, or around the project can affect that project. And there are many risks that I will explain about risk management in detail, that how we can manage the risk and can have a good risk management in the project. And if we don't deal with risk management during the term, I will discuss that will occur many problems during our project. That these happenings will, and events, special negative events will affect our project's objectives seriously, sometimes seriously, and it's a problem. So we can manage the risk, especially more important risks that I will discuss about them. Okay, any question? Juniors? No question. Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay, Ms. Engineer. Excuse me. Ms. Engineer, I don't.
For emergent risk.
Excuse me.
I ask about emergent risk.
Yes.
Emergent risk. How it affect or how I deal with emergent effect and risk of the project.
Okay. I think you must ask about the identification of emergent, yes, or events. Excuse me, Ms. Engineer.
Yes, Doctor.
Which kind?
What effect of emergent risk, and how I will dealing with emergent in a project.
Okay. Okay. Your ask must be about the identifying or identification of emergent risk. It's
Yes.
very difficult. It's very difficult, and it has the most difficulties to identifying and managing. But